Our favorite space bounty hunter receives a mysterious transmission that shows there are still X-parasites on a planet called ZDR. The Galactic Federation has sent special exploration drones called Emmy to investigate and confirm. However, they soon lose contact with each drone and send Samus Aran to get to the bottom of this. But little does she know that it's all a setup. Now lost and alone on an unknown world, Samus Aran must do what she does best. Please, dear audience, join us for Dread on ZDR. Okay, so now that that's out the way, Metroid has been a titan in the gaming industry for about 35 years now. The majority of the games in the Metroid franchise have received critical acclaim, though they haven't sold well. After an 8-year hiatus to the lukewarm reception of Metroid Other M, Samus' return graced us with its presence, and got sold poorly. It just seems like this series was cursed to be great but sell poorly. That is, until July of 2021, the internet will be witness to a game 15 years in the making. Yoshio Sakamoto has had Dread in the back of his mind and in development hell for about 15 years because he felt that he couldn't get the concept down with the hardware at the time. After Mercury Steam impressed him with Samus Returns, he decided to allow them to work on Metroid Dread. So, how does the game hold up? Is it good? Is it mediocre? What does it mean for the future of the Metroid franchise? Well, I'm glad to report that our favorite space bounty hunter is back like she never left. My name is Neutron, and this is my Metroid Dread review. So, let's start off with gameplay. When Samus awakens from a confrontation with the Chosen Warrior, she is left completely stripped of her abilities besides her blaster and athletic capabilities. This is tradition in all Metroid games and is a great way to show a newcomer how to get used to the controls. As you travel through ZDR, you learn that Samus can jump, slide, wall bounce, and hang off ledges. Then a cinematic plays explaining that Samus can perform a melee counter, just like she could in Samus Returns. All the moves and maneuvers are to help the player understand what is essential to survive on this planet. Besides regular enemies, Samus will be confronted by the enemy themselves. These creepy, spider-like robots pursue Samus and try to kill her. It's up to the player to stay out of sight or get away from them to go to the next section. Since these bots are immune to Samus' arsenal, she must find a way to take them out. As Samus moves throughout the enemy section, she's confronted by a one-eyed computer brain, red flag, that will grant her the Omega Cannon upon its defeat. And with this cannon, Samus can kill the enemy and receive a new ability from it. However, this is a Metroid game, so there are power-ups, upgrades, and collectibles, scattered throughout ZDR. The more you explore, the more you're rewarded, which is a perfect way to approach a Metroidvania in my personal opinion. Gameplay in Metroid Dread feels natural, as if Samus would actually move like this in this situation. And I can't wait to see where the next 2D Metroid takes us in terms of gameplay. And that being said, however, there are some moments where the controls feel janky or, well, you aim for something and it doesn't really, fire the way you want. And that could be on my part as a player, but I figured I'd just say what I experienced and be as objective as possible. So there are times where the controls feel like you hit a button, but it didn't respond the way you wanted it to. But the other 99.9% of the time, Samus controls like butter, and it feels amazing. On to the graphics and presentation. Metroid Dread looks stunning. Samus herself is amazing. I love the design of her new suit, and she pops against whatever background she's in. The enemies are varied, and each one has a different way of defeating them. The melee counter gives you a small cinematic, which helps the player feel good about how they are playing the game. And as Samus progresses through ZDR, each environment is drastically different from the last. From rocky terrain, magma caverns, forest areas, underwater research facilities, and Chozo bases. These levels show that ZDR was once inhabited much like our own planet, but unfortunately, due to the selfishness of one Chozo, it all burned away. Sounds familiar. At the end of each level, a boss is waiting to give Samus the business. Each boss feels different and has a different cinematic finish, which only enhances the feeling that you and Samus are getting stronger as you progress through this planet. I have to say without a doubt, Dread is the best looking Metroid game, and I feel like this style should be adapted into the next 2D game. Don't know what's in store for Prime 4, but I know it'll be just as great as this. And now for the story. As Samus explores ZDR, she learns more and more about what's going on. She meets a friendly Chozo named Quiet Road, and he gives her the full rundown. The Chozo that attacked her was a Ravenbeak, and he wants to use the Metroid to conquer the galaxy, like a typical Metroid villain. However, Samus killed most of the Metroid on SR-388, and the baby was killed by Mother Brain. After Samus received the Metroid vaccine, it is confirmed that she is the last being in the galaxy with Metroid DNA, and Ravenbeak made Quiet Road reprogram the enemy to extract said DNA from Samus, which is why they're trying to kill her on sight. Unfortunately, Quiet Road dies, leaving Samus alone on the planet once again. And when the X-Parasite was released, it infected the corpse of Quiet Road, and they reactivate the enemy. When Samus gets closer and closer to confronting Ravenbeak, she starts glowing with this red energy. It is revealed that she is transforming into a Metroid, and that confronting Ravenbeak, a Mockin Chozo, has sped up the process. And it would usually happen to her instantly, but her, I forgot the tribe, Toho DNA was the thing suppressing the Metroid. Samus once again confronts Ravenbeak, and who reveals that he's the one who donated some of his DNA when she was a child, thus making her his daughter in a way. And after a cinematic battle with Ravenbeak, Samus transforms into an actual Metroid, gouges out Ravenbeak's eye, and finishes him off with a giant laser. Which I have to say, I failed the first time because I wasn't thinking, I was just in awe of Samus actually becoming a Metroid. So, after an epic escape sequence where you just laser everything in your path, the ex-possessed Quiet Road reappears. And at first you think he's an enemy, he's trying to kill you, let's just finish him off now. But he somehow kept his consciousness while being possessed by an X, and allows himself to be absorbed by Samus, which reverses her Metroid transformation and allows her to get off planet ZDR and onto her next adventure. And I have to say, this story was amazing. There were twists, there were turns. You were enthralled with Samus even though she barely spoke. You could see how she felt even though she didn't, say much. Her eyes told the story. And barring the absolute rage when she transformed, her expressions were more on the physical level rather than her actually saying something, which is pretty impressive since most games can't really convey that. But anyway, Metroid Dread is a game that's been 15 years in the making. Fans have been craving a new 2D Metroids, and new fans can finally understand why Metroid is such a standalone franchise. I truly hope this game becomes the best-selling Metroid game, so that Nintendo realizes that they have a premium franchise in their hands and they shouldn't be putting it on decades-long hiatuses. But hey, these are just my opinions, and I want to know yours. What do you think of this game? Is it great? Is it subpar? Is it boring? Is it worth $60? Let me know in the comments below. My name's Nertron. See you in the next one. Peace. That twist. We finally got rid of X. No more bringing them niggas back.